The city's sick, and we're lost. This is my home. I'm not leaving. Do you have any idea who did this?
I was investigating the Bona Fide Enterprises.
You're out of your mind. Is that how you want to end up?
There's the war coming. There will be chaos. So, what am I to do with you? Gotham.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonso Duralde from TheWrap, Francis Maxwell from The Young Turks, and William Bibbiani from Crave Online and the B-Movies Podcast. Gotham, episode 18. Everyone has a Cobblepot. Also, all of Hannah Horvath's parents from Girls are on this episode.
I have no idea what that means.
Oh, the Lena Dunham character on Girls, her parents are played by Peter
I didn't actually want the answer to that
Well,
question.
I'm giving it to you anyway. Her dad is played by Peter Scolari, who is the corrupt commissioner, and her mom is played by Becky Baker, who is the shotgun-wielding
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, elderly couple.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of nice.
So
Yeah,
that was just a weird meta moment of
But also, what's funny is that Leonardo DiCaprio was right in Shutter Island. This was actually what was going on. Is these people in the random island, Dr. Dalmacher, whatever that's his name, right? They're cutting people up, which Leonardo DiCaprio said in Shutter Island. This is what he imagined. Because when Fish Mooney looked out at the end, I was like, that's where it is. Now I understood where it was going on. I knew he was right.
I want to make my weird esoteric observation.
Please do.
I'm just really happy that, like, finally there's a show that caters to my very specific fantasy of sewing Jeffrey Combs' head onto a woman's body. I thought that was just me. But apparently
That
not.
was so bizarre. Like,
Very strange.
it was so dumb that I couldn't even say, well, that's
And the CGI
transphobic.
wasn't
It's
very
just-
good. Like, I don't know why you needed CGI. Just put some boobs on him and like someone else's arm.
Yeah, and paint his
like,
nails. You
I
know?
thought it would have been. He's played Ferengi. He'll do it. Like,
I thought it would have been even better, though, if he wasn't actually scared but slightly amused. And he went,
Hey,
my
Nice
body
nails.
Check
is a
me out.
roadmap of sexiness. Frighteners reference.
who plays the doctor? Because I recognize
Oh,
that
yeah,
guy.
that's that one guy.
Yeah, that's what
It's that one guy.
It's
literally-
it's
yeah.
that guy.
Yeah,
He's one of those that guys.
He's one of those that guy. Yeah, the Dollmaker. We finally back to the Dollmaker.
Yeah.
They mentioned him in the second episode. He's who Frank Whaley and Lily Taylor
Yeah,
were kidnapping
those
kids for.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't make that connection. Nice,
and I
okay.
forgot to mention it last week because they just said, yes, Dr. Dollmaker. And I'm just like, oh my God. Does every villain in the Batman universe have a crazy name? Is that all you need? It's like just, whose name sounds like a bad pun? Arrest him now, Minority Report.
They were doomed from the start.
This episode was filled with little punchlines that I loved.
Oh, yeah.
Like Cobblepot's line in the car was fantastic to Harvey Bullock. It's just like, oh, is this where they're going to hide it? And he's like, what do you expect? And big massive signs saying secret files here. He's like, you know when you were in the trunk? I like that better. Yeah, I was good to see Harvey Bullock back because the episode before that he was really in it. He'd made a few cameo appearances, whatever. But in this one, he was one of the central figures, and I thought he was great. It was good to have him back on the camera.
Yeah, I was a little chuffed at first about that he had kind of turned on Gordon, but then we find out why, and because everyone indeed does have a Cobblepot.
That's actually a good title once you know the context.
It does, yes. It's like a certain religion that I wouldn't mention where they get all of your terrible secrets, and then when you try to leave, they threaten to reveal them. You know.
Yeah.
You
Catholics.
know. Exactly. So it's
But it was a good plot. I'm actually amazed at how quickly they wrapped it up. Because you'd think that the idea that the commissioner has files on literally like every police officer, more or less, would and we have to track them down.
But he only surrendered bullocks.
But like I'm not talking about he only surrendered bullocks. I just feel like, the idea of like where does he keep them? How do we resolve this? Normally, that's something you'd stretch out for a couple episodes, maybe establish the commissioner as a threat. They just kind of burned through that thing because it seems to me that they're far more interested in getting Gordon in a position of power to like get to where he's going, but also in a position of compromised power.
Yeah.
I was thinking about sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that. I was going to agree. Like usually they're doing a great job of this, of keeping Gordon's hands not so clean because he's working with Cobblepot, but also he used this as somewhat leverage to get himself into the position of power to be the union president now.
It's a dick move.
Yeah, it was a dick move, and I was like, I like it though because it takes that squeaky clean image away from him.
Well, I mean, I think when he realizes that there's like such inherent corruption in the GCPD, he has to, he has to stare into the abyss. He has to climb the ladder because from where he is, he can't do anything about it.
But I think there's a big difference between how he's going about it and how the show would go about it if they were trying to make a real statement.
Yeah.
When you think about it, what has Gordon really offered Oswald Cobblepot? Really? He's offered him 5 minutes alone with files that he'll never see. So okay, fine.
But a bargain with the devil.
But bargain with the devil. And I'll give you a favor.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ooh, no questions asked. And I'm like, I can just see the fingers crossed behind his back because all he has to do is say, no, you're a criminal, and I'm a police officer. I was always going to arrest you someday. That's his out. It's going to cause a problem, but like he can redeem himself just by reneging on a shitty promise to an asshole.
But that's true. But it seems that is true. But in this world, like you're seeing that people don't really respect that authority. They got chased out of a Chinese restaurant by a bunch of guys wielding knives. You know what I mean? And they're not threatened at all by the police.
Am I right?
So, speaking of things that got resolved faster than I would have expected, I kind of thought we were going to get a couple of weeks of Fish Mooney wearing very stylish eye patches.
That's
Yes.
a shame. That's a shame. Was that too expensive?
Yeah.
Like it was such a weird thing. I mean, she got over that eye surgery really quickly.
I was going to say, like, my mind was like, all right, I'm going to start piecing it together and get myself all nitpicky, and I just realized this show once killed people using hot air balloons. Why am I?
I put that out of my head.
Why am I worrying about how long it's taken for this?
That call.
There's one thing that's annoying and weird though, is that Fish Mooney appears to be taking place in like a different timeline than everyone else. Like I remember there was like an episode changeover where like a week had passed in Gotham, but literally like the time it takes Fish Mooney to climb his staircase had passed on that island. It's like when they messed up with the chronology in post of like the Lord of the Rings movies, and like everything Frodo and Sam is doing is taking place over a day, and everything everyone else is doing is taking place over a month, and it doesn't work. But they just sort of plow through, and you don't think about it till the third time you watch it. It's really weird.
Well,
it's just weird. It's not terrible. It's weird.
Maybe they'll have a fish-centric episode, then she can catch up.
Yeah.
To everyone else.
Everyone's got a Mooney.
So,
Cobblepot doing exactly what Fish Mooney did, which is basically you kill each other.
Yes.
Right.
Just did that again, except it's weirder when the Penguin does it, because you get the impression it's just that I can't fight an old man to death with my bare hands, so they'll get the old lady to do it. It's something creepier about it.
Yeah.
Or he could have just made them stand right in front of each other and use
In a
the one
line.
shell,
Yeah, like in Free Jack.
It just shows that the Penguin has that sadistic side, because we've seen the cold-blooded killer side, we've seen him manipulate everyone else, but now they're trying to reinstate that he is going to grow into this sadistic villain. Genuine sociopath.
Well, he always is, and it's a tricky balance because in the Batman mythos, you really want to sympathize with all the villains, and you have to remind people that although they're sympathetic in some regards and they're entertaining to watch, and maybe you might even be able to really like them, they're monsters.
Yes,
just like that. And I think that's where we're going with the Edward Nigma subplot, where he finds out that Miss Kringle is like, oh, she's got a new boyfriend. Oh, and this one's really, really nice. Oh, now I fucking hate him.
Yeah,
more.
exactly.
That's worse.
Yeah, because
I could compete with,
I at least feel better than that guy. This guy's got to die. This guy's got to die. And he does riddles.
He's
That's
fighting
my
my riddle
thing.
rhyme, exactly.
That's my thing.
his face when he said the riddle to him is just like a clock. All right. It's and I was gonna, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say that with the Riddler. Now they have to, like, they've kind of given him that cute side, and you're like, you can kind of sympathize with him. He's nice enough, and he should get a shot at Kringle or Mrs. Kringle, whatever her name is. But
I think it's Ms.
Miss Kringle. But now you get a guy who comes along. He's a little bit weird, a little bit cocky, but he's genuinely a nice guy. And if Nigma now kills him, then or goes around and do something with him, then you understand that he's starting to become that villain that we want him to see. Sure. Because I feel that they always had subplots in this show, and some of the subplots were irrelevant, and I feel as if Nigma will become irrelevant unless they do something with them.
I think we need to get to the point where Nigma, in his capacity as a CSI investigator, or does I stand for investigator, whatever it is, in his capacity in that regard, basically in a position to do whatever he wants criminally, and then manipulate the evidence once he gets there, if he missed anything, to just sort of get himself squeaky clean, and then just sort of tell people every episode exactly what he did, but no one picks up on it because he's being ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right,
I just thought of that just now. Just now. But I think that'd be really, really creepy, and I think you can keep that going for a long time.
Well, the idea that he could blatantly tell them what's going on, but they're all like, shut up, you're annoying, That's kind of
totally
a cool notion.
Yeah.
This, I would say, one of my favorite Bruce Selina encounters.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, for one thing, I bought the reason of why she's in the hospital.
To steal food.
To steal food.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
From sick people, mind you, not just anyone.
Yeah,
just
and I don't know,
sick
just
people.
their conversation felt more genuine and not the usual sort of like, I'm a street tough kid, see, you know. Like, they actually seem to be relating to each other on fairly equal footing. And you know, again, I would just as soon have, you know, Bruce like Jesus go off in the wilderness for a while and come back as an adult. But you know, if we have to have him, like, let's do him better. The stabby Alfred subplot, you know, is interesting. You know, they have to investigate it themselves because you don't tell the cops. It's like,
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Batman does. So I don't mind if he's getting started young. It's like, oh, don't tell the cops. Why? He's going to become Batman anyway. Fuck it.
Soon he'll start disappearing in the middle of conversations with Gordon.
Yeah. I'm curious to see, like, because we're going on hiatus. And then we're going to come back with the last like 4 or 5 episodes of the season, I think in April.
Yeah.
I'm curious how we're going to ramp it up, what's going to be left as a dangling plot thread, who's going to be around for next season.
Yeah, well,
they got a lot of loose ends.
You've got all these previous episode we had the Red Hood gang now that's not really been tied up. We had the supposedly the Joker now, who we just assume is in jail or some sort of or Arkham at least. So there's a lot of different directions they can go, and I am interested to see which way. I'd love if they tied a lot of them together. I'd love to see the Joker perhaps join in with the Red Hood gang, which was suggested. I feel it would constrain it more, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm starting to get pulled all different directions. I need one more.
The thing about the very existence of this show and the structure of this show is because it's this sort of prequel of sorts.
Yes.
They can leave ends dangling because we know eventually, you know, that Nigma becomes a Riddler. We know that eventually, blah, blah, blah. So they don't have to tie things up. And of course, obviously, if they have a second season, which they do, right?
It's official,
So they can totally like, well, we'll deal with that next fall.
Well, that's that whole anticipation argument we were having in the Avengers thing right there, which is, again, my point. Once it's serialized, the argument changes dramatically and we get to be a lot more interested in it. But a part of me does wonder, thinking about shows that have done this before, like Smallville, for how long can you get away with leaving shit dangling? Because I gave up on Smallville after like season 1. I'm just like, you know what? Luthor's never going to really be fucking evil, is he?
Yeah.
He's never going to put on the fucking suit. None of this it's all just going to be like, even once you introduce new stuff, it's just going to have to find some way to make it not become what we want it to be.
And that's what I'm worried about.
And that's dangerous, so I hope Gotham finds a way around that.
But the way this show
dilemma.
is built, we know that Bruce is a good at least 10 years away from putting on the cowl.
And that's why we were thinking, are they going to skip when it comes
Wouldn't
into
it be cool if they
season 2?
skipped a few years, like every season, and then we can gradually get there? Because I think that would be a really good
But the thing also, I think you don't want to play out all of your rogues yet because they're supposed to be, you know, contemporary.
Well, there's also supposed to be Batman's villains, not Jim Gordon's villains. If Batman just shows up and all the villains are like, who's this new guy?
Yeah,
that's not really going to work. It's gonna ruin Batman. And even if we never get to that, even if the last shot of this series is Bruce putting on the Batman costume or whatever, we're still going to know that the entire thing is ruined.
Yeah.
We would still know that. It's just like, well, yeah, but he's going to be Batman and the entire universe is fucked. It's not going to work for it. You know, like, that would be lame.
Do you think unless they go in and skip a few years in season 2, do you think they've played all their big guns early or too early? Because they have introduced the Penguin, Riddler, slowly becoming in.
There's Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul. I think Arrow has Ra's al Ghul.
I'm sure.
Well, no, they
Liam
do.
Neeson,
I think they might have the monopoly.
I see.
I'm sure Liam Neeson can take a break from making the exact same movie with every different title and come in and play Ra's al Ghul.
No, here's the thing. There is absolutely no shortage of Batman villains.
Yes.
I mean, you look at, seriously, they come up with new ones all the time. There are so many Batman villains, big and small, that are totally capable of even carrying a whole You could do it like a half season on Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Why not? It'd be totally awesome. I thought they were going there once already.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith can come in and do onomatopoeia.
There you go. I think that's more of an Arrow villain, but still Green Arrow.
Yeah.
But but like my point is that you can stretch this.
Yeah.
You just can't. But you're right. We can't shoot our wad too early. We can't have the Batman universe proper coalesce into its final form
When Batman is
before
still
Batman comes around. It just
short
can't.
pants,
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is, can they keep the sort of origin element going without making us impatient?
Yeah.
That's the trick, and we hope you figure it out, Gotham.
Remains to be seen. But the show is on hiatus till mid-April, so are we. But when it comes back, we will too, so we hope you'll join us then.
And no Barbara this episode.
Yay!
Oh, come on. She's a nice lady.
She's underwritten.